Hi, boys and girls. I will continue reading Race the Wild, Great Reef Games, Chapter 2, A Treasure Map. Without a word, Bull Gordon handed each team an envelope and exited the room. Sage tore open the red teams to find their start time. 1:30, she announced. That's in 5 minutes. Go to the bathroom, grab travel food, and meet back here. Sage nudged Mary with her elbow and prompted the boys with a hasty glance. By winning the previous leg of the race, they'd earned the first departure time. Sage wasn't about to let it go to waste. On the way back from the bathroom, she grabbed an energy bar, then several more, just in case her teammates needed them. It still wasn't clear how they'd all ended up together. Dev, Russell, Mary, and Sage. It seemed like a lot of the kids on the other teams had known one another before the race. Russell had a bunch of friends on Team Green, but the organizers had put him on Team Red. Sage thought that was kind of weird. The organizers seemed to like to group certain kinds of kids together. Team Purple, Eliza's crew, was full of smarties. The blue team members were all uber athletes, but the red team didn't fit that mold. They didn't have much in common with one another. Sage, Mary, and Dev had all set in single applications. Then the organizers had plucked Russell from his friends and matched them together. 4 complete strangers. Sage didn't like leaving things to luck. She wasn't sure about working with 3 people she didn't know, but so far they had made a pretty good team. They each had a role that helped the team win. While they all knew about wildlife, Mary's knowledge was deeper and her brain faster with the clues. Dev was a tech guru with a mechanical mind. Russell was their strength, not only in body, but also in spirit. And Sage was the leader. It was her job to keep them working like a team. One of the race agents was at the door with a clipboard. Sage stood next to her and watched for the others, her mind churning, trying to anticipate the challenges the day would bring. When the whole team was there, the agent glanced up, her thumb hovering above the knob on a stopwatch. The next team starts in 10 minutes, she said. Make the most of it. Sage nodded. As soon as the agent's thumb moved, Sage yelled, "Go, go, go!" Her muscles exploded. All the tension from waiting turned into energy. At last, the race had started, and they were on the move. Sage felt more at ease now. She glanced back. Her teammates were all behind her. The bright sun glinted off the white sands and clear blue water, a row of palm trees offering the only shade. Sage would race anywhere. It didn't really matter that this was paradise. The sand felt hot on her feet, filling the creases of her water sandals. Although it was winter in Australia, the sun's rays were still strong. As Sage neared the dock at the far end of the beach, she saw Bull Gordon. He was standing with Javier, the red team's guide. "We're coming," Sage called, waving as she came to a stop. She was certain her teammates were all relieved to see Javier. He had been a good chaperone in the Amazon. "Team Red," Bull began, "you are currently in first place. Therefore, you get first choice of the yachts. The yacht will be your home base until you reach the end of the race course tomorrow. Sage's eyes swept over the multi-level vessels. We'll take the one at the far end of the dock, the Aqua Adventure. Bull Gordon looked to the other team members. It looks like they all have about the same type of motor, so I don't think any one vessel has more power, Dev commented. Sage recalled how the green team had managed to get a much faster boat during the last leg. In that case, it doesn't matter to me, Russell said with a shrug. Mary nodded. Very well. Aqua Adventure is yours. Remember to respect the reef, Bull said with a stern gaze. Javier, give them this clue on board. Javier took the red folder from Bull and nodded. Bull glanced at the four contestants. What are you waiting for? He asked. It's a race. With that, they were off. Sage was the first to the yacht. She waited for Javier on deck to make sure she'd get a hold of the clue. The rest of the team gathered around as she opened the folder. Treasure map, she read aloud. Awesome, Russell said. Do you think there's a real treasure, like with jewels? Let me read the clue and we'll find out. Sage tried not to sound huffy. This is a map. It will show you how to keep the ocean's greatest treasures safe. Find the right path to the coordinates and you will find your next challenge. That isn't hard, Dev said, gesturing to the clue. It's just using north, south, east, and west and finding the coordinates on the map. We locate the spot and go. No, Sage contended. Check it out. This map is like a puzzle. It's all different colors. It's a zoning map, Russell figured out. Look, it tells you where you can go, and what you can do. There's no fishing here, and you can't even swim in the places that are pink. They all stared at the numbers on the clue and the map for a while. All right, team, Sage announced, tracing around the coast of Australia with her finger. We need a path that will take us out beyond these parts of the reef, and we can't go through restricted spots. At once, Russell, Dev, and Mary settled at the small table in the boat's seating area and got to work finding the best route. The route said this was a treasure map. So in this scenario, Dev thought out loud, the ocean's greatest treasure is the reef, of course, Mary finished for him. The map shows us how to keep the reef safe. It wasn't long before they had highlighted the fastest and safest path for a boat of their size to take. Sage ran along the yacht's galley and handed the proposed route to the captain. The man in the white hat with a golden anchor above the brim looked at the sheet and nodded. Sage smiled when she heard the engines fire up. She looked at her watch. Her team was fast. She dared the other teams to try to catch them. Creature feature. Coral. Scientific name. Many families include Acroporidae and Favidae type. Anthozoa, along with sea anemones and sea fans. Range in shallow tropical waters. Food. Small plants and animals called plankton, sometimes tiny fish. The coral that makes up the reef is an animal. Actually, it is hundreds, even thousands of tiny animals living together in a colony. A single coral creature is called a polyp. Most kinds of coral build their own skeleton. They do this by releasing small amounts of limestone each day. The type of coral determines what shape the skeleton will take. Staghorn coral looks like antlers. Brain coral looks like a brain. And lettuce coral looks like the makings of a healthy salad.